Hello everyone and welcome to the Deep Blue Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deep Blue Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 273. Today is Monday, April 22nd, 2019, and I'm glad you could join me today. I am recording on a delay because I accidentally spent the weekend in San Francisco. But, whatever. It was the case where I was supposed to fly back overnight on Friday, but my departing flight got pushed far enough back that I wasn't going to make my overnight connection. So I made a phone call and switched my flight to be Sunday afternoon instead of Saturday morning or something silly like that. So I got to spend a weekend with the dearest little one, which was great. It maybe resulted in not quite as much knitting, because I hardly did any on Saturday. I think, as you can maybe tell by a little bit of my frogginess right now, I am some sort of cold thing. I think the guy I sit next to at work has, I don't know, pneumonia, so maybe I'm getting the pneumonia too. Yay! Whatever. I just need to make sure that I do a good job sleeping the next few days. So, unfortunately, because I was not home, I didn't manage to get this bad boy blocked, but I did manage to finish it on the flight out. So, this is my Luna Moth shawl, complete with dangling end. So this is by, actually, what's interesting is I think I actually lost the pattern. I guess I haven't looked too hard in the car to figure out where it might be, but I believe it's, I don't know, it's Luna Moth shawl. I needed to look at the pattern in order to pronounce her name. It is a elan.com pattern that's now available on Ravelry. And you can see, even though I haven't blocked it yet, that there is, it is a pretty open shawl already. And this has to do with the stainless steel yarn that I ended up using. So, I still need to weave in my end. But I think I managed to get a pretty good approximation of what needs to be done. So just as I was getting ready to do the final row in the pattern, I realized I had no clue where the pattern was. So I ended up deciding to basically do sort of a variation on what I had been doing previously in the pattern, so I just sort of continued the spine of stitches, and then I'll block those into points. And then what I ended up doing was just sort of ended up doing the double decreases in a line to sort of make this crescent shape. So shouldn't be too crazy, so it's a small variation from the original pattern. So I was able to do a couple more rows doing this. It wasn't enough for like a full pattern repeat, and then I did a knit two together bind off. So I am pretty sure that this wasn't enough yarn to do one more row. So I don't have a lot of, this is the Elan Silken Kid. This is a 70% mohair, 30% silk yarn, super fluffy. And then I guess I need to find a way to contain this. And then this is the Lion brand wool stainless. I believe that this was actually originally made for Habu, originally made by Habu. So I still have some left of this, and I will need to figure out what I want to do with the leftovers at some point, but just a little itty bitty teeny weeny bit of lace remains. And then I think I have other things hanging out here. So, yeah, no, there really isn't too much information on this. So, it was 464 yards of this, and then I had, I guess, an unknown amount of the other stuff, because that's the sort of day I'm having right now. So I will probably be giving this a soak tonight, pinning it out to block it. It's fairly warm up here. I don't believe that I have the AC on right now. When I checked the thermostat, it was saying it was 79, so I have the fan going. I'm drinking my cold beverage, so not too crazy. And this will probably be my last finish before Stash Dash. I was thinking about leaving it, and I just wanted to be over. So, it is, I'm hoping that it grows a little bit in blocking, because right now it's a little bit short for what my normal shawl length would be. And you could tell sort of like from the pattern pictures that it was going to be, it wasn't going to be a huge shawl. And part of that has to do with the fact that it is the equivalent of like a single skein of stock yarn. But we shall see how everything comes together. And it may be the case where it's better worn like this or something like that. So we shall see how things end up coming together on this guy. But I am hoping to maybe get a little bit extra width out of it when I block it. Yeah. I don't care so much about the depth on this guy, so I may trade depth for length, depending on how I feel. So that is the story there. So that is done and is pretty exciting. I am still working on my breathing space. I am sort of in the extra row stage at the moment, so what I'm trying to do is make a balanced color block between what you see here and what you see down here. And I may need to try it on at some point soon to figure out whether or not it's time to start the ribbing or not. So I did about 10 rows up here and 10 rows here, and I'm not sure whether or not it is yet time to do some more. I'm sort of making it up as I go. Perhaps I should measure and follow the pattern, as you do. So I don't think there's going to be anything unbalanced with how much I've been knitting on this bad boy. What would it be? I was thinking that 30 rows may be a good stopping point for the green color block. I had initially been planning on 20, but that didn't seem to balance it out quite yet. Excuse me. So I'll probably have to put a cable extender on it and see how I feel about how far it looks. Excuse me. Sorry. So that is breathing space. It is a Vera Valamaki pattern. I have been knitting it for what seems like forever. I am knitting it out of Nest Superwash Merino Silk in the mistletoe color, which is green, and then a combo spin of Noel and Yuletide, which is my variegated. So it's really stinking close, but I think I can save this for Stash Dash. It's sort of getting to the point now where, what would it be? Like today was like the first day that I just went into work without a coat. So that just made sense. You know, the point at which you don't need a coat in the morning, like, it's only going to be, like, mildly toasty in the afternoon and that sort of thing, so, whatever, I'm just going to live with it. So what that probably means is that at some point soon I'm going to have to figure out what my next project's going to be, or what my next couple of projects are going to be. I have talked a little bit about Basil, the Boogie Woogie Brontosaurus, so I could pull out all of my sock yarn for cast on at some point this week. Things are going to be a little bit, or what is it? My schedule booked up pretty fast, so yeah. There seem to be a lot of extracurricular activities. Maybe my Wednesday will be more open than I think it was supposed to be, but whatever. But I don't know if I want to wind yarn for another sweater to be ready for that, or if I want to pick up another shawl project, or if I want to do socks. I don't feel like socks right now, though. Maybe when it gets warmer, I will feel like socks, but I don't quite feel like socks right now. And maybe I'll also check with my Stockinette Zombie goals. So, what would it be? I was super duper excited to find out that I'd won a prize, and I got to get my first choice of prize. So hopefully that'll be showing up fairly soon. But the purpose of, or what would it be? I found the concept to be interesting. I'm not sure how good I am about following along, you know what I mean? So it's the case where, what would it be? Like, so one of the goals that I ended up putting down was my fleece processing, because that was a part of a couple of different challenges. So that was something that I really wanted to finish before I moved. I don't know how realistic that is. Things get done when you work on them, and I've worked on it a little. But it has kept me to task on a decent amount of stuff. So it'd be the case where I'm now in the 8th of 9 groups of fiber. At some point I'll make it into my 9th group of fiber to be combed, and then the combing will be done. And then I will combine all of that final 3rd fiber into a single, or combine it all in a hackle and pull a top. So, and then that means I could start spinning my project if I felt like it. What I didn't end up bringing up with me was one of my spin the bin projects that I've been slowly working on. So that is the Corriedale that I dyed and batified and then pulled through a disc, because that's my favorite way to spin a bat. And I've been doing that, whatever, vaguely long draw-ish, or like a sharp backward or something like that. So not a sharp forward draw. I'm not compressing the living daylights out of it. I'm trying to keep it fluffy and textured and that whole bit, because it's gonna be pretty textured. And I would really like to get that finished off, because it is occupying a lot of my bobbins right now. Or it's 3 so far, and I have 6 plus my jumbo. But that's probably going to be a project I end up finishing for Stash Dash. And then I have another project which is using my first, or some of my first comb top that's just been sitting. I received a bag of random fiber that was in sort of like shades of orange and brown and red, and then I combed it into oblivion, so it's all this sort of even color. And so I should just spin it, and I put that in my spin the bin. But I'm not sure whether or not I put that in my zombie goal along. I also put in my goal along finishing a sweater, and I think the spirit of that would be that I start and finish a sweater, because I'm pretty sure this guy here, I started before the new year. I'm pretty sure. It just feels like I've been working on it forever. And then a shawl kit. So I might just call this as a victory on the shawl kit front, because what would it be? As you do. But I do have several more shawl kits that I could pick from, and I just haven't quite decided what it is that I want to do. So, like, I have 3 colors of hedgehog that are going to be a giant, awesome shawl. I have my Inara kit, excuse me, and I have my Crosswinds kit, and I think I did manage to knit one of my shawl kits that I was thinking about last year, so that was my on the Spice Market, so terrible. But I think those were the things, and the other thing was like moving to the Bay Area without going insane, which I want to be. Still waiting on that one. So it was really exciting to find out that I should put together another post on my progress. I have been doing this sort of at the end of the month, so on the weekend I just put everything out in the sunshine and take a photo. It sort of depends on how much chaos is surrounding me in the upstairs, so, or how closely I crop the photo to hide all of the nonsense around me. But I don't feel like I made a ton of progress this month on that particular goal, or in that part of the goal. And like there were like a bunch of different parts to that one, so I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned because I am falling behind on my spin the bin goals, because I think I was expecting to be done with my Corriedale spin in March, and it's now heading towards the end of April. And I'm still, let it be, I'm past halfway, if you don't include plying, but it doesn't feel like I'm a lot past halfway, if that makes any sense. So we'll see how it all comes together. It has been the spinning project that I've wanted to work on, and so that's positive. And I did have this sweater interrupt my spinning plans, since I had to do that 4 ounces unexpectedly when I didn't have enough yarn. So, oh well, such is life. So, I did end up having a pretty good mail day. So I did end up getting my sweater quantity of sport weight. So this is Stunning String Studio Super Sport. And what would it be? This is the yarn company of Tom and Cindy Garland, so Tom Dyes and Cindy Designs. And the plan is to knit a Swift River with this. So what I do find interesting is that this freshly dyed batch that I ended up getting turned out to be much more solid than what I was contemplating at the DFW Fiberfest. So I was like, but I think it will be fine. It's just a case where there's a little bit less of the forest grain than I was hoping for. Oh well, whatever. So this is, the colorway is called Galway Bay, and it is, what would it be? Definitely on the greener side of teal, but teal. So it's blue adjacent. It means I didn't add yet another blue sweater quantity to my stash, but it's pretty close to blue. So I think it's jewelry enough for me to enjoy wearing it. And so I have almost 2,000 yards of it. I believe when I entered it into Ravelry it was 1950. So that should be good for my size. The Swift River cardigan is a long open front cardigan with pockets. So that should be a really fun knit. And mixing things up with getting sport weight. I think that I've been almost obsessed for so long that I just didn't even really contemplate sweaters or garments that were in sport weight, because what would it be? It wasn't until, I don't know, semi-recently that they started to carry sport weight yarn even in the first place, so it'd be the case where there was the DK, the fingering, and the lace, and the blend is a sport weight, but what would it be? It'd be the case. You don't necessarily want to use MCN for all applications. Like, there are specific applications where MCN shines, and I don't really feel like garments are where that is. But should be good fun here. I'm glad that I went outside my color comfort zone like a little bit. And maybe it turns out that I should have went for a neutral, but where's the fun in that? So hopefully that'll end up working out fairly well. So that was nice that I ended up getting that on a fairly quick turnaround. And now I have my Ziploc bags to put them away, because they're not all going to fit into a single Ziploc bag, sadly. But yeah, no, I guess I'm just thinking, or what would it be now that I'm sort of getting close to being in between projects, that with respect to what I want to do next, where I'm going, why am I doing it, does it make sense in the context of what I'm trying to achieve? Does it satisfy my need for boring knitting? Or does it satisfy my need for complicated knitting, depending on the situation? I'm not sure. So I'll have to make that decision, but I think I can delay a little bit longer until get closer to casting off the sweater. But maybe not casting off all the way, just most of the way. So, I know what I forgot to talk about. So I talked a little bit about my Spin the Bin project. I'm also doing one other project. So I'll have to contact the Jenkins. I was really sad to find out that my Lark tip had actually fallen off of, or had broken off of this bad boy. And so I was gonna email them to ask if I should just glue the end on, or if I should do something else. So, so this is what broke off, and I can feel exactly where it was supposed to be, or I can see exactly where it was supposed to be, and then it fits in actually really nicely once I get it lined up. But yeah, no, it was a little bit of a bummer because this was the first time I used the spindle, and it broke sometime between when I had stuck it in this bag and when I pulled it out in the airport yesterday. But this was how much spinning I managed to get on my luxury down spin. So I showed you guys these Rologs. What's interesting is how different the colors ended up, how much different the colors look between the Rolog and the actual fiber. But I am spinning without the tip, and it seems to be going just fine, so whatever, such is life. But what would it be? So I'm doing this as a bit of a long draw, so I'm letting twist into my drafting zone and then sort of pulling on it in order to get things out. And I'm trying to make this pretty fine because I do want as much as possible. And then I'll probably end up coming up with some sort of strategy for how I want to, or what I want to do about applying this bad boy so that I can maximize the yardage that I get out at the end. Because I would like to have enough for a decent sized project. So I had spun, I think, about 2.5 roll logs during the flight, maybe. And I've just been slowly but surely working through this guy. It was the case where, since I was in an aisle seat, that meant that I had like a little bit more wiggle room with respect to, I don't know, having room to spin. And then I was trying to be reasonably considerate of people around me. So you can, with these little Turkish spindles, you can actually get quite a lot of spin and travel out of them while still being fairly compact. So I'm just sort of moving it along. I'm really enjoying how this guy's spinning, despite the fact that it's a little bit broken. It's fun to go for like a nice, cute little small project like this. So I'm not sure how much more airport spinning is in my future. I can never tell. But I was, fairly happy with how far I got on this bad boy. So that will probably be getting carried around a little bit and worked on. Just sort of enjoying the lovely fiber and making sure that I'm trapping as much of the caveat as possible. So it is, what would it be? Camel silk, camel, and caveat that I ended up carding together into roll logs. So that is a surprise project, at least somewhat. I'm just sort of working through all of my Judith Mackenzie samples, and I'm putting it all in a project on Ravelry. So I have a different spinning project on Ravelry for my Julian Moreno samples, so as you do. But I did manage to get pretty decent progress on that. I probably spun for about 4 hours total on it as I was waiting for the flight and then as we were flying. Maybe a smidge less, but more or less. So that'll probably end up getting carried around for would it be my on-the-go spinning project. Depending on how anxious I feel, either I will bring my wheel with me to midnight this week, or I bet I'll bring my wheel because I would really like to just cruise on my Corriedale spin and get that as close to wrapped up as possible. As you do. So I did do one more ball of top. It's really interesting. So not that you can tell, but this ball is much more purple than this ball is, and I have no clue why. But I did make one more ball of top this week, so that's better than no balls of top. And this is from Ginny the Fleece that I got at the Fiber event 5 years ago. Been moving slow. So, excuse me. So I got it, 5 years ago. So it's been lovely to work with so far. It is a Corriedale cross BFL cross Shetland. So it is half Corriedale, 50% or 25% Shetland, 25% BFL. So I will need to keep cruising on this bad boy, but hopefully that won't be too crazy. And then it turns, it's very, the color of this is just, it reads in the end sort of like, or what would it be, from afar, as sort of a slaty color. But then as you look closely at it, you realize that it's made up of purple and green. And then what's coming off on the screen right now in this bad boy is foresty green, which it's because the purple is broken. I'm wearing a purple shirt. But yeah, it's my only purple shirt. Oh well. So it is a very, very interesting color. It'll be interesting to see what this final top turns into, because sometimes life's a crapshoot. Excuse me. So, things are coming along, and I should be able to record next week. I bet it will be Sunday, because my Saturday is becoming jam-packed, but who knows what it be. And then there will be shenanigans, because my father-in-law will be back in town. I'm going to see Hamilton, which should be a lot of fun. And then whatever else is going on. Who knows? Can't predict these things. But I don't know, I think that's everything. I almost forgot things, so I guess it's probably okay. So I know what I forgot. So the Luna Moth shawl was a part of the Knit the Precious Cal. So this was my first time ever using mohair silk, and my first time ever using the wool stainless yarn, so it was a very interesting experience. And this final product is like so fantastically fluffy. I can't show you what crazy things are coming off of this shawl. So if you were thinking of participating, feel free to go ahead. I was planning on ending things at the 30th of April, so not too far off the mark. But yeah, no, so I hope you can dig around your stash and figure out something that you haven't, or what would it be? Find something special in your stash to give a chance. So, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. So, take care, guys. Bye-bye.